Can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Carano.
Here.
Ms. Cooney. Here. Mr. Curtis.
Here.
Mr. DeVold. Mr. Dortch.
Here.
Mr. Hall. Mr. Humke.
Here.
Mr. Salerno.
Here.
Mr. Trenton.
Here.
Ms. Weber. Ms. Zadra.
Thank you. Ms. Ross, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We've got approval of the agenda. Before we do that, I would like to move item K up to right after approval of the agenda.
Move approval as amended.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll go to item K.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Under tab K, you have a letter of nomination from the Lake Tahoe Incline Village and Crystal Bay Convention Bureau nominating Fred Finland, General Manager of Hyatt Regency, to fill out the unexpired term of Mark Pardue. And I believe we have a quorum of electeds here to
Barely.
consider this. Anyone can participate in the discussion, but we do need a motion for approval and voting on just by our public officials.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the name Fred Finland.
We've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Fred, welcome. I think we've even got a spot for you for today. Look forward to working with you. Public comment. I do have one public comment card, that from Roberta Ross. Welcome back.
Thank you. I miss you guys. For the record, my name is Roberta Ross. I'm here today representing the Northern Nevada Motel Association. We do have a new president. His name is Bal Gosal, and he's unable to be here today. So I just wanted to give you a quick update and where we are with our position coming back to your board is that we have a candidate that we believe will be a good candidate. However, we were not able to get our board meeting in time enough to get to Rscva to have it in your agenda for this month's meeting. So we will be bringing a candidate forward to you next month. Thank you.
Thanks, Roberta. Moving on to review and approval of the minutes from September 23rd.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, President's Report.
Good morning. Let me see. I have a few things I'd like to report on this morning, and then I will ask Ruth Bernstein from EMC Research to give you a briefer version of the presentation that was made at the Marketing Committee on the Bay Area Awareness Study, because I think you'll find that of interest and some good feedback on the results of the marketing campaign to date. But let me start first with a couple of other items. One, just to bring you up to date on the latest communique with Hot August Nights. They recently held their board retreat and have appointed 2 new board members, Ryan Sheltra from the Bonanza Casino, who also serves with me on the Nevada Commission on Tourism, and David Roundtree, a civil engineer with CH2M Hill, who previously worked with Sparks in Washoe County and was on the Hot August Nights board previously. They have requested their 2011 and 12 city permits from Reno and I believe from Sparks as well, and are awaiting their estimate of city expenses. We are about to provide them with license agreements for the Rscva facilities through 2016. They affirmed and indicated to us that it is their plan to produce 3 separate events at 3 separate locations, 1 being Reno and Sparks, 2 being South Lake Tahoe, and 3 being Long Beach. And they indicated in their response that each of these events must be financially solvent to stay in existence. All profits will be attained by the parent company, Hot August Nights. They also indicated at this time they have no further expansion plans. So that's the latest update based on their board retreat and the information that they have shared with us. There will clearly be continuing further conversations, and we'll keep you apprised as we move forward with those. But I did want to make sure that you're aware of the latest information as we just received it.
Any questions regarding that? Anybody have any questions? Thanks.
Okay. On the economic perspective side, two things. First, the disappointing news I believe you're all aware of about the Siena closure last week. Both tourism and convention sales moved quickly to alert people and assist in accommodating future guests booked at the Siena into other properties so that their stay in the area is seamless. And on a much brighter note, we are delighted to report that United and Continental together in their code-share agreement is bringing back the nonstop Reno-Houston flights effective in February. I personally wish it would be a couple weeks earlier so it would catch Safari, since they have a big Texas delegation, and we have talked with the airport about continuing to try and push on that issue. But it's certainly good timing and will accommodate the bowlers this year, and is wonderful to have that round-trip service back. In terms of some industry events and activities, I have a couple of the right people in the room to comment on this. We are planning now for the Destination Marketing Association International CEO Forum, which we are hosting, and I'm actually the local host for that one. Pleased to tell you it'll be at the Hyatt Lake Tahoe in April, and the Hyatt is actively involved, as is Bill Hoffman and the Incline Village Crystal Bay Visitors Authority in assisting on that. Another very positive point, the airport tower opening this week, which was extremely well received, a bit chilly I might add, but it's wonderful to see the new tower available and the enhanced level of safety that will bring to the region above and beyond the already very safe record that we already have. Special events will make its way to the marketing committee at its next meeting, which is next week, and to your December board meeting. We have just been through the special events panel review process for 2011 events. We had 12 eligible applications, which were reviewed, and recommendations are coming forward to the marketing committee. We have $192,500 available to allocate this year, which is the same amount as we had last year, although this year there were fewer applicants applying. So the process went very smoothly, and you'll have some recommendations before you shortly. We had, since our last meeting, the sold-out Eagles concert in the Reno Event Center. Fabulous evening, very positive one. We have a comedian, Dane Cook, coming up in early December. This is actually an unusual event for the Rscva, in that it's part of a 4-city facility-promoted tour that the Rscva agreed to participate in. That's unusual for us. We've not done that before. I did it after consulting with the chair and the chair of the Finance Committee in recognition of the limited number of other events occurring at the Reno Event Center and the low financial risk associated with this particular event. We moved ahead, and we already have a significant number of tickets sold, so that's very encouraging. We held, I think it was only last week, a very positive Chicago convention sales mission with 5 hotel partners joining us. Tammy Johnson put that together. Her strong relationships with clients in that market was evident in terms of her ability to bring clients to the events, and they were very well attended and very well received. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Silver Legacy, the Atlantis, the Peppermill, the Nugget, and the Hyatt, who had sales staff joining John, Tammy, and myself for that. We received very positive feedback, including an article which is at your place this morning, which was written by one of the meeting planners, who started by saying that he very rarely goes to a Convention and Visitors Bureau planned event from any city because they take too much time, he doesn't learn very much, and they're generally boring. At the end of the particular event that we hosted that he participated in, which was held in the suburbs near their offices, he wrote an article titled, "What CVBs Can Learn from the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority," and on his initiative, unbeknownst to us, send it out on the meeting planner wire to an email subscription list of about 10,000 meeting planners. So that was a very positive sign from that. We're quite we're quite thrilled to see that. I would also point out on the press side, albeit in more of the general press than this one in the meeting news, for any of you who are skiers and those who are interested, ski being a very big component of what we promote in this region, Ski Magazine did their 2011 Reader Resort Survey, and the results had outstanding coverage and scores for the Tahoe resorts. The number 13 ski area in the United States was listed as heavenly, and what they said, the quote was, "The combo of Vegas nightlife and California weather rocks. Love the lake views." Number 15 on the list was North Star. North Star has changed from a sleepy to a top-notch resort. And number 17 on the list is Squaw Valley, quote, "The best resort in Tahoe, great mountain, snow, sun, and après fun." Those three areas plus Sugar Bowl also got many mentions in their specific categories, and they had about 30 of them, for terrain variety, for challenge, for service, for après ski. Gives us a great deal to talk about as we promote ski this coming winter with the wide range of resorts you can reach from here. I would just point out our next board meeting will be a combined board meeting on December 2nd. We typically combine November and December. Based on conversation this morning, we'll actually be starting that board meeting at 10 a.m. We will remind you of that later. We will hold it in the Reno Sparks Convention Center, because immediately following that, we also invite our board alumni to join us for a little holiday celebration. So we will remind you, but just to plant that seed. You should have received the dates for the Marketing and Finance Committee meetings for 2011. You've previously received the board meetings. We've sent out the committee meetings. If for some reason you don't have them, please let us know. I believe we've also already posted them on the website, so it's available to the public for anyone who is interested in attending. So that's available. With that, I would be happy to pause for a second if you have any questions or comments on this before I introduce Ruth to jump into the Bay Area research.
Anybody have any questions? Paul? Can you turn your mic on? Thank you.
Thanks. I just have a comment, and that is, I just want to thank you for this package that you put together every month. I mean, I think it really provides a nice snapshot of kind of what's happening in the industry. I read it all, and read it and try and remember most of it. If I can remember any of it, I'm doing pretty well. But nevertheless, it does provide a good snapshot, and I just want to thank you for it.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you find it helpful. Try to give you some sense of what's going on in the industry, recognizing that some of you see more of that than others, and hope it's set up in a format where it's easy for you to scan and say, this is relevant, this isn't quite as exciting to me, but give you a chance to really look in depth at as much of it as you'd find helpful. So I'm glad that that's useful. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Okay, great. And then what I'd like to do is Ruth Bernstein, who is the principal of EMC Research, is going to make the next presentation. We did this as a presentation item at the marketing committee, and it's not an action item, so we had removed it from the consent agenda there. But what this is the first study we've done since the campaign has launched. And it's our first opportunity to see from a pure research methodology, have we begun to move the needle? We had the pre-test in all of the research we did before we launched the campaign, finding out about awareness of Reno Tahoe in the Bay Area, finding out about their perceptions of the region. And now that the campaign started rolling out in March, what we wanted to do was take a pulse and make sure we were seeing the kind of results that we had expected to verify that we're moving in the right direction. And this is an independent research study that EMC did for us to evaluate that. And in many cases, they're able to compare the pre-results with where we are so far. Obviously, we're very new into the campaign. The outdoor started first, followed by the internet and radio. But we're also very encouraged by the preliminary kind of results we're seeing so far. So, Ruth,
Thank you very much.
move ahead.
All right, I'll take you through the kind of highlights of the research. I know you have a lot on your agenda, so I'll be able to, I can answer questions after I take you through the highlights. Just first, as a reminder, as Ellie said, that what we were looking at is evaluated the opinions of Reno as a destination among, we did the Bay Area only because that is where the media is running, adults age 21 plus. We wanted to quantify the awareness of the campaign, test the brand attributes, and do some tracking, and also measure some changes over time, and also to set up baseline questions so that we can continue to track this over time, because this is designed to be an extensive campaign. Just first, a little bit, just notes on methodology. What we did is a hybrid of a web panel and telephone survey. Web panel is a very effective way to do testing and with a budget, but right now web panels are still not methodologically quite all there yet, missing a lot of older people, and so we did a hybrid with some interviews conducted by phone and some by web, and we think over time we'll be able to move more toward web. We did do about 1,000 interviews, which is, gives us an overall margin of error plus or minus 3. This is fairly new data. This was done on the last week of August, beginning of September, at the end of the last flight. And we compared the data where we could. As you may remember, back in September of 2008, we did a telephone survey of the whole drive market. So we pulled out the about 1,500 interviews we did in the Bay Area. That was by phone, so it wasn't web. They're slightly different demographics, but we were able to do some comparison to that subset of the data. A couple of reminders here, because I want to show you some, in the data, we're going to talk about that target audience. Back when we did this survey in 2008, we did sort of a segmentation of the market and said, we've got a certain group of people that are the core, if you look at here on the bottom, the core market. Then we said, we've got a little segment that's just get them in the door. Those are kind of the easy group. Then there's the needs reintroductions, the first timers, and then kind of everybody else. And that target is about a quarter of the Bay Area, that needs reintroduction and the first timers. The needs reintroduction, as a reminder, those are people that came to Reno maybe in the past, but hadn't been in a long time, but were interested in coming. And the first timers, those that maybe never had been at all. And so we identified that as our target. And it's about a quarter to a third of the market, and that's where we're going to show you some data among that group. First question, we did ask what comes to mind as a getaway location. As you probably all know, in Bay Area, a lot of competition for places to go. But we see Lake Tahoe is the #1 response. These were open-ended. Where do you want to go? Lake Tahoe is the first, with a quarter mentioning that. And Reno gets into the top 10 with 7% mentioning Reno without having heard anything about Reno yet here in the survey. Many other locations, of course, Monterey, Napa, Vegas, but I think it's great still that we see Reno getting in the top 10 and Tahoe's #1. We asked then what we call kind of the overall brand rating. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Reno, Nevada? We asked half of the sample about that, and we see about 61% have a favorable opinion of Reno, 31% unfavorable. And then we asked the other half about Reno Tahoe USA, because that's the brand that we're talking about, but we didn't ask that 2 years ago. So Reno Tahoe USA, amazing, 77% favorable and only 15% unfavorable. When we look at the overall brand rating of Reno compared to 2 years ago, really essentially no change, 61% favorable compared to now 61% favorable. And although it's a hard number to move over time, your overall rating, but what we're very happy to see here is that you went out with a big campaign. As I'm gonna show you, there was awareness of the campaign, but the unfavorable doesn't go up at all. And the favorable, although over time we wanna see that move, but we don't see the unfavorable go down at all. And that's always a risk when you run an ad campaign, that your unfavorable rating, as people learn more about you, they might not like you as much. And what we're seeing is really no change. And in fact, the unfavorable goes down a little bit. Then we ask, have you heard or read anything lately about Reno? Back in 2008, we had a third that said they had heard something lately, and now it's up 15 points with 47%, so almost half of the adults in the Bay Area said they've heard something recently about Reno. That's really pretty phenomenal, and definitely an increase and an awareness of the campaign effort. Another question that we want to, kind of a key baseline question, do you agree or disagree? Reno is a place I want to visit. Back in 2008, we had 51% that agreed with that statement, and now we have 59%. You know, that's a tough number to move, and we've moved it all the way, you know, up by 8 points. So we now have a majority, a solid majority, that want to visit. Overall brand rating, so we said, do you agree or disagree? Reno is fun. Is it a good value? Is it easy? Is it unpretentious? You can see those solid brand ratings that really are the basis of what was used to design the campaign, are still very strong here. So it's fun, it's a good value, it's easy, it's casinos I like, it's relaxing. All of those have a majority agreeing. And then is dirty and run down. We have 45% that disagree with that statement. And then is a place to go with children is kind of the only 24% agree with that, 60% disagree. And that makes sense. That when you look at the campaign overall, it's really not sending a message that this is a family place. In fact, it's actually sending a message that it's a really fun grown-up place to go to. And so I think that's getting across. We also asked about visitation. So they're self-reported. Have you visited Reno in the last 2 years? And if you have visited, how many nights have you spent? We can see here comparison to 2008, not really any change in self-reported visitation. So even though we have an increase in awareness, an increase in wanting to come, we still have some ways to go to get everybody actually to come in the door. 67% said they haven't visited Reno in the last 2 years, and we have about 33% that have visited, with 8% having spent 6 or more nights in the last 2 years. So hopefully we'll be able to see that number changing over time.
And as the recession recedes.
Right, yeah, we're still seeing definitely recession numbers, and very strong. In the Bay Area, the recession really has not ended at all. When we asked a follow-up question, so this is some of the backup data to those overall numbers. What have you read or heard about Reno lately? Among those that had seen something, we see real diversity of responses, 19% mentioning casinos, and that's down from 30%. So we're seeing now more responses, more other responses than 2 years ago. We saw most people just mentioning casinos or gambling, and now we're seeing more diversity of responses. And you can see here on this next slide, among those that have heard something, all of their responses, 19% casinos, but also hot August nights, the rib cook-off, outdoor activities, and 3% actually mentioned the ads with the sheep or the goat. So we're seeing not only are they recalling that they saw something about Reno, they can actually recall a specific thing about what they saw. So they're not necessarily just saying a generic answer. When we asked where they heard about Reno, the top response is among friends or family. And I think that's good news, because when you look at this campaign, it really is sort of a go tell your friend that you also want to go. It's very much a word of mouth effort. Also a lot of response on the internet. So this is just where they heard. And, a lot of people don't say that they saw it either. They remember ads. They'll usually talk about the thing that, oh, I heard it from my friend. They won't admit that they ever see TV ads. Then asking also about, have you seen or heard anything lately about Reno? As we said, that the pretty big increase. When we look at it more specifically here, among your core, so these are the people that already come to Reno and are frequent visitors, we do see it increases a little bit, the awareness compared to 2 years ago, up 14 points. So 60% of your core market have heard something lately about Reno. Among that other group that are the least likely to actually come here, we also see an increase in that group. But among the target segment, so those people that we were trying to reach, we see a 20-point increase. Now 48% of those within the target population have seen or heard something recently about Reno, which means that the ads are targeted correctly, they're reaching the right people, and we're seeing a real significant, a 20-point increase in awareness among the target is pretty amazing. We also looked at demographically where we're getting the biggest change. So it's not enough to just see the ads and remember that you saw the ads, but what about your interest in visiting? So what's interesting is among men, the increase in the awareness was high, but their interest in visiting didn't go up really that much. They were already, a lot of them, interested in visiting. But among women, we saw a real difference in not only increase in awareness of the ads, but also a very big interest in visiting. So we created this index just so we can have a number to show you. And so among women, we get a really high change index. And this is also based on the size of the population. The other two big things we wanted to point out, Santa Clara County is actually, it's a quarter of the Bay Area. It's also the farthest place for you. So it's like a 5-hour drive, and with traffic, it could be even more. And we're seeing that the awareness, I mean, that population, they noticed the ads, and they have a pretty significant increase in interest in visiting. So, I mean, if we can really crack the Santa Clara County market, it's wealthy, and there are a lot of people there, so it's amazing. Also, non-gamers, we saw a very big increase in shift, and that's really the kind of the new market there, the non-gamers. Among the actual attributes, so the fun, value, the casinos I like, we didn't see a lot of change in those numbers compared to 2 years ago, but they all remained strong and none of them really went down. The one number that went down is a place to go with children. So 2 years ago, 32% agreed that Reno is a place to go with children, now only 24%. And what that says to us is people actually did notice the ads and understood what they were saying. This little bar chart, these are the 4 key things that we want to track over time, and I think the plan is to probably do this every 6 months or so. So although there's only 2 points on this, we're envisioning that this will go on over time, and we'll be able to track the overall favorable rating, those that have visited in the last 2 years, those agree that they want to visit, and then have you seen or heard something about Reno. So as you can see here, the one line that went up was have you seen or heard something, and ideally as that number continues to go up, we'll see the other attributes following as well, that we'll see visitation actually going up, that we'll see the favorable rating go up, and that we'll see interest in visiting going up, and that these take time, but we're definitely seeing an impact so far given the short number of months the campaign has been up. And then also among the target segment, we'll continue to track that. So overall what we found, and then I'm happy to answer questions, is that Reno Tahoe USA is a very strong brand, that just name, it is a good name, it's very favorable, and that definitely the campaign has penetrated in the Bay Area, which is difficult, a very busy media market. Interest in visiting is up, and especially among key target segments, and that we're seeing definite, as I said, real movement in some key populations, younger Santa Clara County women, that overall ratings of the brand are very positive. And so, I think overall it's very good news, and we look forward to continuing to track this and bring you tracking data over time.
Great. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Beth.
Thank you, Ruth. I just have a little bit of a unique perspective on this because I was involved in the beginning focus groups when we very first started this. I sat through all the focus groups, sat through every bit of along the way of the research initially and the campaign development, et cetera. And I cannot tell you how incredibly pleased I am to see these numbers. There were many concerns about the amount of budget that we had, that we couldn't make a difference with the budget that we had. We didn't have the partners that we wanted to have, and yet we were able to make a difference in awareness that I have probably not seen in a 6-month campaign before, particularly in an incredibly heavy media market. As you can imagine, the Bay Area is barraged with messages, and to be able to cut through and get the message across about Reno. The other thing I think to keep in mind is that what was abundantly clear when we sat through the focus groups in the different markets of Sacramento and San Francisco was that Reno was pretty much not on the shopping list anymore. Everybody has, when you think about, places you want to go or getaways that you want to go, you kind of have a list of places in your head. I can go, I'll want to go to Carmel or Monterey or San Francisco, whatever that personal list is. And Reno was falling off that list. And I think one of the key objectives that we had was to get back on that list of considerations. And although we haven't seen increase in visitation quite yet, I do believe if we stay the course with this, and if we can get some more partners on board and continue to grow it, I really do believe that we're going to start to see some positive impact. In a time when we have been not marketing in the Bay Area in any real way since the dot-com crash, which is 2002, this is a nice positive step forward that I'm just really pleased with, and just want to commend everybody for all the hard work in making that happen. So thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Glenn?
Very nice report. I wish I would have known that we would have, and I guess I would have heard it at the market meeting, but I forgot about it. But so I did a big report on it this morning, but it was very nice. I learned more about it every time I hear it. And so it does have some real positive results. Things that I think we need to be aware of is, one, there are only 4 properties in the Reno Tahoe area that are participating in this. And it's the Nugget, the Atlantis, Circus, and Harris. And as that's the case, those 4 properties don't participate 100%. If you took those 4 properties, I believe the Nugget's in 100%, the Atlantis is something perhaps short of that, Circus and Harris are all short of 100%. If you add them all together, you got someplace around 2.5% or 2.5 shares in this. And you just think, what if you had more properties involved in this, what it could possibly do. So I'd like to maybe, I know that we're going to share this with hoteliers throughout the community and make another pitch because it does have some real positive results. I forget exactly what the media campaign dollar amount is. So I maybe Ellie, you can refresh my memory there in regards to what the Rscva participation is, and then $2 million total, and what the Rscva participation is, and what the hoteliers' participation is. Okay.
I'd rather shoot you an email with the details. I didn't bring that with me. But
yeah.
It's approaching $2 million, and we're in for a significant piece of that. As you indicated, there are 4 properties presently in. All 4 of those are in the outdoor campaign. 3 are in the internet and radio components of it. And we can do we'll do a follow-up email for you, or report at the marketing committee.
Yeah, and again, my thought process is with less than 4 shares. Have you? I know Harris is in less than 100%. If that was not 2.5 or 3, even 3 shares, if it was 8 shares, what would that impact have on this message here? So again, we're going to shoot this. This was going to be part of my report that I wrote out at 7 o'clock this morning. So I'm sharing it with you. We need to get this out to hoteliers and give the hoteliers a pitch to see if, in fact, we can make this work. It's the impact it had on women, which women tend to make all the decisions, men, and also in Santa Clara County, the impact it had in Santa Clara County, which is the most populous of our target market down there. So again, I just make sure we get this out to the hoteliers, and I like to see that information, and maybe share that information with the other board members also. Okay?
I appreciate your point, Mr. Carano, and I know that Ms. Cunningham is meeting at 11 o'clock with the directors of marketing from the properties today to review this presentation with Ms. Bernstein as well. And 2 other points. Couldn't agree with you more on our desire to see more properties participate, and it's not too late for other properties to step in, and we'd welcome the support from the marketing committee assisting us as we make that pitch. I'd also remind you that we set out recognizing, to Ms. Cooney's point, that this destination has not had a strong presence in the Bay Area. We set out recognizing that our first task was really to build awareness, that we had to build a level of awareness before we could expect our potential customers to start interacting with us and really considering Reno Tahoe for their next destination. This really talks about the awareness piece mostly. Part of what you'll see, and perhaps in Mr. Carano's report as we go on, is that we are also seeing some of the engagement factors, from internet requests for information to reviewing the website and the kinds of things they're looking for, indicating that we're beginning to see more of that engagement. And you'd expect them to be looking and asking and probing before they come. And the fact, as Ms. Bernstein pointed out today, that kind of the last step in the process is action. It's, okay, I'm going to go. Let's book our trip. The fact that our numbers for visitation in the sample remained the same today as 2 years ago, given what we've seen in the recession in between, I'm actually relatively encouraged by. I'd certainly like them to be higher, but one of the hardest hit parts of the country right now continues to be California, our principal feeder market, with roughly 60% of our audience coming from there. So we have to build awareness. That'll create engagement. That sets the stage so that as people are able and willing to travel, they can in fact come here, which is the mission that we're setting out to accomplish. But we knew it was going to take a few years of building that awareness till we're seeing the engagement where we want and the action and room nights that come out of it. So we're very encouraged by what we're seeing, and I appreciate Mr. Carano's thoughts very much on this. Thank you.
Another stellar booster grab that recognizes the role of women play in decision-making.
I know when to run, when to hold them.
Anything else? Anybody? Great job, thank you. Moving on, we'll go to items for board consent, the marketing committee report.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, and board members, that was the highlight of our meeting, and from there, we actually we had a few other items, and then we lost quorum, so we really didn't get into a special event discussion in regards to. But that the special event committee has met and decided their funding process, and that will be reported at the next meeting. So with that, we did receive a report from the regional marketing committee, and I'm kind of taking this as I thought what the importance of the meeting was. Again, that was number one. The regional marketing committee meeting reported to us with Mr. Bill Hoffman over here. Everybody knows Bill. He shows up at every meeting here, and so as Bill reported that the Reno Tahoe International Airport is number one in new flights added throughout the nation since the third quarter of 2009. I'm not sure people knew that. So the success that Chris Bart and the regional marketing committee and the airport are having is in a positive direction out there. The mission of the Regional Marketing Committee is to bring together public and private organizations to contribute marketing dollars and expertise to position the Reno Tahoe and Northern Nevada region as a number one destination, including that maintaining and increasing the quality of air service to the Reno Tahoe International Airport. The Reno Marketing Committee goes out and identifies national growth markets for visitation, priority markets for air service growth, partnerships with airlines, and we try to improve those relationships and actually advertise in those markets to increase visitation. The Reno Marketing Committee sponsored the Innovata flight mapping at the Reno Tahoe International website, and so it helps conventioneers and helps all of us. If you're looking for someplace to go and you're looking past Expedia, you just go to the Reno Tahoe website, international website, RTA website, and you put where you're starting from, whether you start from Reno or wherever you start from, in your destination, and it maps out tons of opportunities to get here. So that's a very positive, and that was again sponsored by the Reno Marketing Committee, the Regional Marketing Committee, excuse me. I said Reno. Likewise, one of the things, the Reno Regional Marketing Committee contributors have fallen, their dollars contributing to the committee's fallen about 50%, and that's largely because of the economic times that we've been in. So they are looking for a few good men. Here's the pitch. They're, they are actually looking for larger contributors to keep this kind of success growing in the future. And so I think the message needs to just get out there that it's not just benefiting hotels, it's actually benefiting everyone, including businesses that are flying in and out here. So whatever we can do to help the Regional Marketing Committee and Mr. Bill Hoffman, I'm sure. Anything you'd like to add, Bill?
Not really. I think we're going to do a report at some point. We discussed that with Ellie. So
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so a very positive report in regards to the growth there. We also had a brief report on our Best Rates program, and our Best Rates program is alive and well. We got a report from the tourism, and Ralph Witzel isn't here today, but the tourism familiarization event that took place in August that highlighted Reno and Lake Tahoe, and a lot of the hotels participated. It was a very good success. Convention sales, the convention sales numbers, as you'll find in the book, are down, and as they're down, both month and year date from July on, and that's largely because we have not had a full complement of sales staff, and since now we've got Mr. John Linen and other key positions filled. We have, we've dug ourselves a substantial hole, as you can see in your numbers here. So we got a lot of work to do, and I think there's some positive things in regards to trips to DC, and there was just a trip to Chicago recently that we'll report on next meeting. So convention sales again has a very large hole to dig itself out of, but we got a few able people out there going to work hard doing it. Tourism sales reports that they're actually down 79% of their goal, or where last August was 89% of its goal. The majority of that, those room nights are down largely because of how the OTAs are reporting or not reporting this year, and so we're not getting a full participation in reporting there. So the OTAs are somewhat of a challenge reflecting tourism. There was some discussion on international coach, and international coach I think is up maybe 100 room nights for the month. We did host NTA last November, and so the thought is that the return on investment there will actually be next year and a year later, as opposed to just immediate return. You saw some wonderful marketing up here, and what Ellie was alluding to in regards to the growth there. We've the month of August received 151% growth in unique visitors to our website. So the social media and internet marketing seems to continue to grow in a positive direction. That's my report. I'd like to ask any committee members or anybody if they'd like to respond.
Any questions?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, that's my report on items 7, C, D, E, F, and G. I guess I can make the motion for approval to approve those items.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Finance Committee. Mr. Humke.
Thank you very much. I'm the stand-in for Chairman DeVold. We had Jim DeVold runs a great meeting, as defined as being in the neighborhood of 35 minutes or so. That makes for a great meeting. As to item H, the report of operations.
You have to keep your report to that much or less.
Yes, don't worry. Report of operations and transient lodging. My statement was we're essentially in a steady state. Positive item was cash average rate of $81.67 is $3.09 and 3.9% above budget. As to item I, we had a very nice report from Mr. Willis Allen. It was very positive. It was cordial. Mr. Allen reported that they're making some improvements to the Pioneer Center, to wit, certain green improvements, which helps them in paying the utility bills. They like to see the dial spinning the other way, and that started to happen. So that's paying off. A very interesting thing I thought he said was that of the 101 performances last year, that his statement was Broadway shows are carrying they're carrying the center for them. So that's why we see all of those ads and see stuff about to go to Broadway or has been on Broadway and all of that stuff. And I know that's all I do is hum show tunes, you know. So small joke, sorry. So that was a very positive report. Then as to item J, was a brief agenda. Item J was had some good news as to the Sienna situation. The report in your minutes is somewhat dated. Events since then, as the president have stated, have overtaken this report. One item of good news was the change of venue at United States Bankruptcy Court to Reno, the Northern District of Nevada, and obviously the property is closed. Since then, I believe they have a drop-dead date of tomorrow to see if there are any suitors to help them out. And my reading of those news stories is that that's kind of the price of admission to stay in Chapter 11. Don't want to be negative, but we'll hope for the best. We'll hope they stay in business somehow. And that is the report.
Any questions? Put a motion?
Then I would move approval of items H, I, and J.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Ellie, presentations.
Would you like to join me, please? And Mr. Salerno, you as well? Would you like to start?
Sure. Well, as most of you know, Phil's the old timer on the board. I think he's been here since '99, I think is what I was told. And I've had the pleasure of working with Phil since, not just on this board, but since I was elected on the council in 2002. And it's always been great to work with. I've enjoyed it. Definitely going to be missed on this board. Brings a lot of knowledge to it. And hopefully we will get to continue to work with him, because I know that if things go well for him on Tuesday, he will be an advocate for the Rscva and this region. So I hope we get that opportunity to continue working with you, Phil. But I've truly enjoyed it, and you've been great to work with.
Thank you, Mr. George. I'd like to add just a couple of comments. Phil did join this board as you heard in 1999. He served as chair for a couple of years, and he's chaired the facilities committee for the last 4 years. From my perspective, having worked closely with him, he's been a dedicated attendee, always does his homework, a thoughtful contributor, and a terrific Rscva supporter. I personally want to wish you all the best in the future and say, please don't be a stranger. We'll miss you here. Thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you.
And we do have a lovely plaque that he can hang on the wall of his new office. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Gee, I didn't realize it was so long that I've been here, because this board has been pretty easy to serve on. good people. I'm going to miss the board. I hope you get someone that can do the job from Sparks. And I just want to thank all the board members and all the Rscva employees. This is a terrific, terrific organization. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Items for future board meetings, anybody have anything?
Mr. Chairman, next month in St. Louis, there's the American Choir game, and so Ellie, I think, will be hopefully providing some kind of report in regards to the American Choir game for our next board meeting. I know that as a hotelier that's holding a lot of hotel rooms, I've got some concern on that piece of business, so we just need to get on top of that and see where we're at. All right?
Perfect. Anything else? Board member comments. I'm going to let everyone know Ellie's evaluations are coming up. We've gotten back the feedback from the community members and staff. I've summarized those. And I think we're going to try and get those out today, Charlotte, right? To the board members for the board member comments to get those back to us. And I think we haven't set a date yet for, you sent me that email for the, yeah. Okay. So we'll get that out to everybody too that's on that committee. Okay. Anything else?
Move adjourn.
Got a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.